terms of rankings, we're number one within New Zealand. We're consistently ranked as number one by QS and Times Higher Education, and then 81st globally. So in that top 100.
We're going to be starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you are in the world, or whenever you're watching this episode. I'm really happy to see you joining us today for another episode with Coffee Chat with Adam. Today I'm joined by Ben McNally-Byrne from the University of Auckland. Ben, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Kia ora, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining me today. Are you having your coffee this morning?
I sure am. I've got a coffee just before from, I think it's backwards, but you can see the Shaky Ales Coffee Company, which is the cafe that's right here at the University of Auckland campus.
Well, that sounds fantastic, but I just had homemade coffee, so I'm just going to go with that. So, Ben, today is another episode of Coffee Chat with Adam, and we're going to be having more episodes rolling in the upcoming weeks. But today we're going to be learning a lot about the University of Auckland, so stay tuned for a lot of information about the university. I'm going to start the episode with a very simple question that I like to ask everybody who joins me on the series. And basically, I would like to know more about you, Ben. I'd like to know more about your position and also the duties at the University of Auckland.
Sure. So yeah, as you said, my name is Ben McNally-Byrne, and I'm one of the international managers here at the University of Auckland. Now, the University of Auckland does its recruitment slightly different or its international recruitment in a slightly different structure to many other institutions out there. I'm not a regional manager per se, but I'm attached to a few different faculties. So we look globally, but just look at the strategy and the business development for just the faculties that I'm responsible for, which in my case is the Faculty of Education and Social Work, and also where I'm sitting right now, although it's not a very creative background, also the Faculty of Creative Arts and Industries as well. So the School of Architecture, Design, Music, Fine Arts, all that sort of stuff as well. So that's the way that we're structured here at the University of Auckland. So generally responsible for the partnerships, speaking face to face, doing things like this, and yeah, generally in a usual year, going overseas and talking to students at fairs and that type of thing as well.
That's interesting. I think that the background is quite creative. What are you talking about? It's a beautiful background.
It's a nice fade. Yeah, it's a nice.
Yeah. What I would like to know more is actually about the university itself, kind of like a little bit of a history background, or the background of the university. Just something that I would like to know more about the university.
For sure. So 1893 is when we were established. The University of Auckland was established. That makes us one of the oldest universities in New Zealand, which, as you know, is quite a young nation. So although we may be one of the oldest here in New Zealand, it makes us one of the newer ones in the world. In terms of rankings, we're number one within New Zealand. We're consistently ranked as number one by QS and Times Higher Education, and then 81st globally. So in that top 100, they're taking into consideration the rest of the world. And then also in terms of something else that's particularly important to the University of Auckland is our rankings in regards to the Sustainable Development Goals. The UN's Sustainable Development Goals are often referred to as SDGs. We're ranked number one in the world for our commitment to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which covers 17 different aspects in terms of good education, poverty, peace and justice, all these different goals that we have, and we've been ranked for a second time in a row for the number one university or institution globally for that. So that's something that we're really passionate about here at the University of Auckland, which does go hand in hand with New Zealand's reputation as a sustainable and eco-friendly and environmentally friendly and sustainable place. Yeah.
Something I would like to ask you further about is the teaching methodology at the university. So is it more research based, or is it industry focused? How does the teaching how does it look like at the university?
So we are a research institute. We are a research-focused institution here at the University of Auckland, but also within our taught undergraduate and postgraduate diplomas and masters and taught master's degrees, we are quite innovative, and it is slightly different, especially in the way that New Zealand teaches in comparison to other places, which can often be quite different for international students coming in for the first time, as it was for me coming from originally from the UK and coming over here three years ago to work in education. I found the differences good, but quite difficult, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. So a lot of what the University of Auckland will really try and do within the classroom space is really try and take a step away from this one teacher at the front of the classroom and then rows of students all listening politely, and the teacher is the focus of attention. Although obviously some lectures have to be conducted in this way, what we're really trying to move towards is more of a collaborative learning environment, which focuses on problem-based learning and really making sure, turning that focus away from the teacher and back onto the student. So we really want the student to be the focus of attention and to be working collaboratively with their classmates or research partners or supervisor in that case. And the reason that we do that is one, because it's a great way for students to learn, but two, it also mimics the New Zealand work environment, which is typically quite linear. So it's quite flat, meaning that we've not got this general structure where you've, in a lot of businesses today in New Zealand, you won't have the one CEO at the top, and then you've got the senior managers and the managers. It's generally, although they're structured like that, it's quite linear in the way the day-to-day operations of these. So what that means is that and that kind of goes hand in hand with New Zealand's culture in terms of kind of respect and transparency and honesty. To be able to teach students in this way then allows them to then progress onto the work environment, and then it's not a shock for them, because a lot of students are interested in continuing in New Zealand post-graduation, and we want to be able to give them that experience in the classroom whilst they're learning, because why not? If we can prepare them both and give them the education and the learnings, but also deliver it in a way that prepares them for not only the subject content but the work environment, and that's then we've done our job well.
And following that question is something I, of course, like our students who are watching the episode today will be interested in knowing more about. But I know we don't have the full details as of right now. But it's basically about the NCUK requirements. So if our students who are watching the episode will be applying through NCUK to the university. So what's the requirement that they have at the university for the NCUK students?
So my recommendation for students that are doing the International Foundation year and looking to study at the University of Auckland, either next year or in 2022, would be to refer to the A-level requirements that we have on our website. So we're quite proud to have quite a comprehensive website here at the University of Auckland. I'm blessed that I have that on my side, because anytime I don't know any information, I can go on that and find it out quite quickly.
Yeah.
So what I'd recommend that students do is go on the specific page, the course page on the website. So for example, the Bachelor of Commerce, and then they can choose, I am studying, either I'm studying in Vietnam, you can choose that and it will give you the grades needed there. But if the students are doing NCUK, you can put in the UK, because it's obviously a UK qualification, and then follow the A-level requirements, which for the Bachelor of Commerce is BCC, and then that will give you the guide of what we're kind of looking for the NCUK International Foundation year.
Yep. I think that's very good already. Just following that and then checking on the website. So probably that information it is always updated. So by the time the students apply in 2022, like you said, we'll definitely be having even more updated information about that time. But going with that is already very good. So something that I learned when talking to Vietnamese students is that we love to talk about scholarships. Okay, so scholarship is a very hot topic amongst our Vietnamese students, and it's something I'm also very interested in talking about. So I do know the university has some scholarships that they offer to Vietnamese students. Could you please give us more details about the scholarships that are offered?
Sure thing. So there's two that I'd like to talk about today. So the first one is quite correctly named the International Vietnamese Excellence Scholarship.
Nice.
And that's been approved very recently. And that is a scholarship of up to 10,000 New Zealand dollars off the first year tuition fee. Now that's we have up to 5 of these each semester. And it's as the name suggests, it's based on academic excellence as well. So there's no strict, okay, if you meet this, you will get it, or if you don't meet this, you won't. It all really depends on who applies for that scholarship. And then we'll look at your academic background and then assess it based on that. It's for undergraduate, it's for postgraduate as well, but within the taught space. So not the research masters or PhD level, but all the bachelor's degrees and the postgraduate diplomas and taught masters programs, then it will be available for them. We also have the General International Student Excellence Scholarship, which works in a very, very similar way. I believe we have up to 50 of these, but it's not restricted to just Vietnamese students. Same thing, so it's up to $10,000. It's based on academic excellence. So it's just for Vietnamese students, you've got the two, and I'd recommend applying for both of them because you never know which one you may get. It just heightens your chances. But those are the two that I'd like to plug today. Again, both for undergraduate, postgraduate, and taught masters programs.
I think the one for the specifically for Vietnamese students is going to be quite attractive. But like you said, they should apply for both, not limited to just one of them. So something I forgot to tell you about is that the NCUK program that we're talking about is right now it's focused on the business stream. So a lot of our students are probably going to be interested in applying for business degrees at the University of Auckland. So could you a little bit give us like more insight about the business faculty at the university?
Yeah, so the School of Business, as it's referred to at the University of Auckland, is Triple Crown accredited. So it's really highly ranked, not just within New Zealand, but also globally as well. And it's really highly regarded in both the research and within work industry as well. When we have options for students from that undergraduate level, either in the Bachelor of Commerce, which then has lots of different specializations attached to that. So if you want to do a Bachelor of Commerce and you want to focus on management, or if you want to focus on marketing or finance or economics, you have all of these options. And again, I'd really encourage students to have a look at that website because it does list all of those options that are available for students. Also within that school, we have the Bachelor of Property, which is obviously focused on property development and property management and that side of things. And then within the postgraduate space, all those majors that you can specialize in within the Bachelor of Commerce will often have a named master's program at the postgraduate level. So there'll be, the Masters of for example, Business Administration, or there'll be the Masters of Commerce, again with all of those specializations amongst that as well. So there really is a full range of opportunities and different areas to specialize in within the School of Business, and coupled with that the research and the education, the learnings and the knowledge that we'll be providing you. There'll also be many lecturers that are also have worked in industry, currently still working within industry, owning their own businesses as well. So it'll then allow the student to be able to build up their professional network, and actually work with people, both within the research and education settings if they want to pursue that route, but then also be able to get some further knowledge about working within industry if they want to go down that route post graduation as well.
That's actually good to know about. But I'm sorry, I think I lost you there. But did you mention something about double degrees as well? So if the students would like to do a double degree.
Yeah, so we have, especially within the Bachelor of Commerce, and this is a theme amongst most of the programs at the University of Auckland, same with the Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Science. But with the Bachelor of Commerce, there's a whole bunch of different conjoint options that students can look to study. So if I just read off a few here, so you can do the Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Arts, Commerce, Engineering and Commerce, Health Sciences, Music. There's really the whole range here. There's about 20 of them that I can see just there on my screen at the moment. So if students are interested in a certain area, but then also want to be able to develop their kind of business communication and their skills within a business environment, if they want to develop those alongside, say for example, health sciences, then they have that option. These degrees will be able to be completed typically within 4 years. So you'll be able to get that conjoint degree within 4, instead of having to do 3 years on the commerce and 3 years on the Bachelor of Health Science, for example. You'll be able to clump them together. Work quite hard. It is quite a high workload, but it's something that we'll be able to support you with, and they'll complete that in 4 years. So what the Bachelor of Commerce, the reason that this works so well with the Bachelor of Commerce is that yes, we're teaching you about business and marketing theories and management theories as well, but a whole bunch of also these transferable skills that students will learn on the program as well, and stuff that's really valuable, especially now with everything moving quickly online, but things in terms of communication skills, presentation skills, writing skills as well, learning how to write business reports and write-ups and things like that as well, which will complement not only students that are going into a major business firm, or they're going into insurance or something which is a very heavy business environment, but even if they then go to work in the healthcare sector, or if they then go to work in radio, they can really have all of these skills that they learn on the Bachelor of Commerce and then feed into that. So it really, the Bachelor of Commerce would never take away anything from maybe the discipline that you want to specialize in, say health science in this instance. All it will ever do is complement that and kind of make you more of a well-rounded graduate when seeking employment opportunities post-graduation.
I think that's actually quite important to you noted about, or something you mentioned about transferable skills development, and especially the university focuses on developing those skills as early as the first year when you start studying your degree, because by the time you graduate you fully develop, or at least to a certain point where you can just literally take them wherever you go. It's quite really a good option that you focus on those, and I'm really happy to hear that the university does put a high emphasis on transferable skills development when the student is studying the program as well, not just through the extracurricular activities but also through the programs themselves. So that's actually really good. That's a bonus, I would say, to the program learning. Something that I wanted to also ask you about is the work integrated learning. So are there any opportunities for students to apply for internships or any kind of like work placement offers while the students are studying, say the Bachelor of Commerce, for example?
Yeah. So students that are enrolling into, this is actually quite exciting, it's quite a well-placed question here. So students that are starting in 2021 and I'm sure 2022 and beyond as well, will have the first time to complete a cross-disciplinary capstone course. And this capstone course, what that allows you to do is apply all of the knowledge and the skills and the learnings that you've got from the academic side of the course, and all those theories and that you've learned, and all those research papers that you've read, and then apply those within a practical context. And this will then allow students to be able to, when they do start going into or having discussions with future employers, it allows them then to build on this. So these students are already having that work-related experience within that capstone project, and that's for the first time in 2021 as well. So that's really a really exciting thing that's happening within that space, and allowing those students really to really see, okay, this is why we're teaching you these concepts, and this is why we're doing that, and it's because it helps within the work environment, and it really supports you and can make you a well-rounded employer, or within a research context as well. Also within that, and across obviously all the university, we do have our career development and employability services team as well, which is often referred to as CDES, CDES. So the Career Development and Employability Services team, which are there to support all students at the University of Auckland, both international, domestic, undergraduate, postgraduate, doctoral, and they're basically there just to support with students finding employment during their program. So maybe they want to do, say, international students, maybe they want to do a 20-hour-a-week internship opportunity, or if they want to work in any setting, the CDES team will be able to support students with that, and then also post-graduation as well. So these services are available for 3 years post-graduation as well. So the student can still be attached and affiliated with the university for much longer than that, but then use these services for 3 years post-graduation, which is helpful for those students with the 3-year post-study work visa as well. It goes hand in hand with that. And specifically what the CDES team does is they'll help with basically the full range of what students would need in terms of finding their feet within the work environment. So it may be that they need help with interview techniques. They need mock interviews, and they need to practice a few before going in. They may need their cover letter or their CV looked at and referred to. They may a whole bunch of different things. Help with their professional social media, so LinkedIn, even Facebook, and things that are being used more and more these days as well in a professional context. And the CDES team will support students with that, so that they can build up their networks, and that they can put their best selves out there and really showcase what we've taught them here at the University of Auckland in the correct way.
Ben, what I would like to just follow that question with another, or the answer that you provided me with another question, is about startups. So a lot of students in Vietnam nowadays are interested in starting their own company or their own small startup business idea. So do they get any kind of support from the career office or the university in some sense?
Yeah, so the CDES team will be able to obviously support the student with kind of their own personal brand, and be able to help the student get the best self forward. But also what we have at the University of Auckland is what we call the Unleash space. Now this is a space for both students and staff and people affiliated with the University of Auckland, and it's the Centre of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So it's basically a state-of-the-art maker space, basically. So it's free for students to use. And for those interested in exploring the world of innovation and entrepreneurship, we have free workshops for the students to go to, bookable meeting rooms if they want to have meetings with potential investors, for example, or a graphic designer, or whatever they need for their startup idea. Brainstorming spaces, experts, and kind of different things to inspire them for projects and ventures. And then for the creative types, which are often in a startup is the same people or a small group of people. We have fabricators, We have 3D printers, laser cutters, electronics, vacuum formers, sewing machines, craft and art supplies, other tools, machinery, obviously the full suite of graphic design software that you would need to use as well. So it's just a space, because what we find that students that are wanting to start, or people that are wanting to start their own business, a huge thing will be like the initial investment in capital that they'll need to invest in, generally their own money at the start. In order to just get the idea off the ground, you need to put in, X amount of dollars in order to get that off the ground. Whereas what we're doing with Unleash Space is providing this already to students. It's completely free to use, and it also it allows you to interact with other people that are doing similar things. It allows you to share your ideas. It could be staff as well that are there supporting you, or you may be able to if you need a graphic designer, chances are there's going to be one knocking around the Unleash space anyway, working on their own projects as well. So it keeps everything kind of also within the University of Auckland as well. It's helps. It's a space for students and staff, but those students will then start to work together and collaborate just as they do in the classroom, instead of then going external and then looking at it that way. So it can really, really support students that are interested in their own startup businesses, or just want to gain other skills. If they just want to participate in a free workshop on how to present or anything like that, or they'll be able to get that support from the Unleash space, and then also the Career Development and Employability Services, the CDES team.
Let's move to the final two questions before I ask you about something personal. The following two questions are more about the campus life, the university life as well. So what kind of, do students have the opportunity to participate with clubs and societies? How does living on campus versus living off campus look like? What are the expenses of living in the city in general as well? So this is some of the things I would like to know about before we end the session today.
Yeah, for sure. So we have, like most universities nowadays, a whole heap of different clubs and societies for students to join. And often these are set up through the Auckland University Student Association as well. There's obviously lots of different kind of nationality clubs as well. So the Vietnamese Student Society, Indonesian Student Society, and all that type of thing, which I would encourage students to get involved in as well. And as the name suggests, you don't necessarily have to be Vietnamese or Indonesian to be part of these societies. You just have to, somebody wants to know a little bit more about that culture and about that country and that type of thing. But that goes all the way to the meat society that just like to eat meat. Lots of different religious and sporting groups as well, as you can imagine. So really there's lots and lots of things that students can get involved in outside of the classroom at the University of Auckland, and we'd really encourage students to do that, because it, again, as this will help with their whole university experience. What they're going to get in the classroom and when they're studying is a very important and significant part, but it's not the only part of their university experience. It's not the only thing that's going to develop them here at the University of Auckland and during those 1, 2, 3, 4 years, however long they're with us. But being involved with the extracurricular activities will actually provide them a whole bunch of development as well. And it'll allow people to mix with different cultures, people from different backgrounds, share different ideas, and really well-round a person for when they become that graduate of the University of Auckland. They're not just going to have the course content drilled into their brain, but they're going to have all of these different skills that they've learned and built up, and enjoy doing so during the time. It's generally the learning that you don't realize that you're doing is the stuff that can often be the most significant going forward. And so I'd really recommend students do get involved within that. Also, in saying that, it often helps for students mixing if they are staying at the university accommodation as well. So we're very proud, or we're proud to boast that we have the highest number of student beds for students at the University of Auckland in the whole nation. So I believe that we've currently got about 4,500 currently, and we're looking to build that up over the next few years up to 7,000. Now there's lots and lots of different options as well. For those students as well, they may want something directly in the city. They may be slightly further towards, if they're a health and medical science student, the faculty for medical and health science is near the hospital in a suburb called Grafton, which is still Auckland City, but they may want to be in an accommodation slightly closer to there. Same with the faculty of education and social work based in Epsom, another central Auckland suburb. We have accommodations that would be slightly more suitable for that. So there's lots of different choices in terms of location, lots of different choices in terms of undergraduate versus postgraduate. Some of them are mixed, some of them not so. And then also in terms of catered and non-catered accommodation as well. So it really depends on what the student's looking to get out of their experience, or how they're comfortable living. It may be that they prefer more of a studio apartment type situation with just themselves. Absolutely fine. There's options for those students, and there's also options for the students that are happy to live with 5 people. They're quite happy with that as well. So there's lots and lots of different options, and all of the prices do differ. But as I said before, the University of Auckland website is really, really comprehensive, and you can just click on exactly, you can put these in. Okay, I want to be in the city. Okay, these are the ones that I got to look at. Okay, I want to be self-catered. Okay, these are the ones I'm going to look at, and all the prices will be listed. But the accommodations do range in prices, so you'll be able to find something cheaper. Typically, living with more people, But if you've got a little bit more money to spend, then you can obviously go in in an accommodation that suits those needs as well.
What I wanted to ask you is, what do Vietnamese students usually do at the University of Auckland? Do they usually go with one flat with multiple rooms, or living on campus, or renting a villa with two floors and multiple rooms as well? What's the norm basically for the Vietnamese students in
Good question, and it does differ for every student as well. A lot of our students would prefer to come in initially, and they'll stay with the homestay provider, for example. Again, we do work with homestay providers. This is probably slightly better for students who maybe they're a little bit younger. Or if they haven't travelled outside of Vietnam, or have never travelled to New Zealand before. It would be really helpful to initially go into a homestay, which you can book for as little as a week, or you can stay there indefinitely. There's options for that as well. But what this does is, it generally is slightly more expensive, because a lot of the food is included within that cost as well. But it allows you to live with somebody who is a local here. So they can answer all those questions in terms of where's the nearest supermarket, how do I use the public transport, all that type of thing. That they can help with that, which can be really, really valuable in those first few weeks. Obviously, the university will be able to support students with that through orientation, but if students are arriving before that, generally Auckland is I feel it's a fairly self-explanatory city. You can figure out how it works, the urban planning and development, thanks to this faculty at the Faculty of Creative Arts and Industries, which teach a lot of those urban planners and developers and designers, have made Auckland a really quite livable. It's one of the most livable cities within the world. However, when you're new to it, some of even the very simple things can be really, really hard to just initially get your head around. So staying with that homestay provider can allow you support with that. Then generally what students will do is initially they may go into the student accommodation, especially within their first semester or two at the university, just because it does take care of a lot of things. So generally you're not having to worry about, okay, I've got my water bill here, I've got my electricity bill here, I've got the TV bill here, I've got all these different things. Obviously, we'll streamline that process for students, and we manage that on behalf of the students as well. So that can be good, and it's also good for the students to then interact with other students that they're living with. What then seems to happen in years 2, years 3, and beyond is that students would have met either the people that they were living with within the first few semesters, or friends on the course, or maybe other Vietnamese students, or even friends outside of the University of Auckland. They'll then generally go to a private property. So they'll rent a villa, maybe a 5-bed villa, a 4-bed villa, a 3-bed villa, which is generally what a lot of people up until they buy a house will be doing. They'll all be buying these 2, 3, 4, 5-bed villas, and more in some cases. And then just doing that from there. And then they can kind of figure out, okay, which is the suburb that I want to live in. But that's generally the progression that I do see a lot of students going in, particularly international, is initially very short stint of homestay, university accommodation, and then move on to something private with people that they've met during their time here.
So it's really nice to know about there's this homestay opportunity for students to do as well. Ben, we're actually kind of like running out of time, and I don't want to take a lot of your time, so I have 2 final questions, because I promised there will be only 1 question, but I thought about something and I wanted to always ask you about, so I will leave that to after this question. So first I wanted to ask you about not a question, but I would like to ask for your advice to our Vietnamese students. So what do you would like to tell our students who are watching the episode today before they apply to university? What's your personal advice to them?
My personal advice would be to think and study, treat looking for an overseas study experience as you would something in the classroom. So really study it. Make sure that you're picking the right thing for you. Make sure that the institution that you're interested in offers the subject disciplines that you're also interested in. Make sure that the country is right for you. Make sure the city is right for you as much as you can, from behind the computer screen, obviously, at the moment. The other thing that I would really recommend is reach out to us. So if you have any questions, even if you don't have any questions, we're always happy to talk directly with students and just provide a bit of an update, have a chat, have a coffee, like we're doing right now, Adam, and just have that discussion with the student. And it may be that they have questions about the course. It may be that they just think, oh, where's the best Vietnamese food within Auckland, or do you have Vietnamese food in Auckland, which obviously we do. And I would definitely just encourage students to do that. You can do it over email. You can get support from an agent to do that as well, if English language is something that they're sensitive about, or they can call or video call or absolutely anything as well. So I definitely encourage students to do their research on their own, but then reach out, talk to as many people as you can, and make those connections before you arrive, because it can be really, really valuable to have that prior to arriving. And the other thing would be apply early. Definitely apply early. You've got to consider generally all of the visa processing times, the application processing times. All of these things take longer than you would end up thinking. So it's always good to get the application in early, and then you have no nasty surprises. And you can always apply when you don't have every single document, all your ducks lined in a row. You don't need to do that. So apply with what you've got. We can provide you with a conditional offer, and you can fulfill those within time. So that would be my advice to prospective students from Vietnam.
So I do encourage you as our students to get in touch with the university, get in touch with the team, and ask about just ask any question. They're more than happy to support you with that. People like Ben are incredible people, and they work at the University of Auckland, so you'll find people like that waiting to support you.
We love to talk.
Yeah.
We love to talk. So as you can probably tell, we really like to talk. So really, don't be shy. We're always happy to have a chat with you and provide some more information. Always happy.
Yeah. Ben, I have one final question, and then I will end. I promise. Okay.
No worries.
Are there really more sheep than people in New Zealand?
It's a great question. And I think there is. I think that rumor is true. I mean, these sheep are not based in central Auckland, I can tell you that for sure. They're obviously spread over, I believe, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I believe they're predominantly within the South Island of New Zealand.
Okay.
That's typically where a lot of the farmland is. So I presume that it's within Canterbury and Otago, those places that you would get there, because you definitely don't see them walking down Queen Street in Auckland CBD. But I think it's true. I've heard that before as well. And you definitely, when you're on the road, during the summer breaks and things like that, and you're doing a bit of traveling around New Zealand, you definitely see a lot of them. That's for sure.
Well, I wanted to get that out of my chest. I always wanted to ask that question. So there are more sheep than people, basically. Yes, good to know.
I'm going to say I believe so. I've definitely seen a lot of them, but who knows? If it's,
Well, hopefully one day I can get to travel to New Zealand and see that for myself and count the sheep, count the all 7 million sheep.
Yeah. When you do, we'd say no mai hari mai. So a big welcome to you, Adam. So you're always welcome.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure this big welcome is also to our students who are watching the episode as well. So Ben, thank you very much again. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to end the episode here, and I'm just going to I really appreciate your time. You've been incredible today on the episode, and I'm really grateful for all the information that you shared with me and the students as well. And I'm sure our students are also very happy to hear all the information from you, and thanking you as well in person in the future when they come to New Zealand. So thank you again, Ben. It's great having you with us on the show. And
not a problem. The pleasure's all mine, Adam. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you
Appreciate
too. We hope to see you in the future. And let's end the episode here. So I'm just gonna say thank you, everybody. And do you want to say thank you in the native? What's the language called? The native.
Te reo Maori.
Te reo Maori.
Yeah. So we would just say a big kia ora and a big no mai hari mai, and say that you're welcome. You're welcome to come to the city of Tāmaki Makaurau, which is Auckland, in Te reo Maori. Always welcome here. So we hope to see you within the next short period of time.
I hope so too. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you. And